Hi everybody, I'm Greg Fishel, and this is just an extra fun video about baseball. If you're not a baseball fan, you probably don't want to waste your time on this. But I've got a good friend who lives in North Carolina, originally from Pittsburgh, big Pirates fan, so he hasn't had a whole lot to be happy about in recent years either. And he's trying to be encouraging to me in the sense that the Mets have been totally blown out and outplayed 3 out of the 4 games against the Dodgers. And he's trying to cite an historical precedent for things to turn around in my favor. I don't think it's going to happen. Colin Cowherd, if you follow his podcast, he had one today where he just said it's a total talent mismatch. He said the Dodgers have great players up and down the lineup, and the Mets have one great player, Lindor, and the rest of them are good players. And as much as I hate to admit it, I think he's right on the money. The Mets have been even though they had the best record in baseball from the 1st of June until the end of the season, there were, these innings, especially the last couple of weeks, where miracles had to happen for them to keep moving on. One miracle after another. And they didn't, score consistently through the entire game, but they would have these moments where they just explode, and that would make the difference. And I think they're on their way. They've got a really good owner, and they've got a really good head of baseball operations. And I think that finally the Mets are going to be a perennial contender from this point forward, but they're just not there yet. They're not on the level of the Dodgers. Anyway, but I wanted to go through this example that my friend brought up, which really is quite a remarkable World Series. But I wanted to go through some baseball terms because a couple of these I was shaky on and wanted to sort of refresh my memory on. So the first one is very, very basic, your batting average, okay? And that's how many hits you get divided by the number of times that you have an at-bat. Now, of course, if you walk, that's not considered to be an official at-bat. I believe if you hit a sacrifice fly or a sacrifice bunt, that's not considered to be an official at-bat. But anything else is, and so the number of hits divided by at-bats is your batting average. And it's always interesting to me to think that people will kid about weather forecasts and say, oh, it must be nice to be wrong half the time and still get paid. The best players in baseball are correct 35% of the time, if that, okay? So it's an interesting comparison there. All right, so on base percentage, OBP, you knew there had to be an acronym, right, is the number of times you reach base divided by the number of at-bats. So now you can add in things like walks, okay? And some people are they have really good eyes at the plate and they walk a lot, and so their on-base percentage is high because of that. But it does not include errors or reaching on a fielder's choice where, let's say there's somebody on first and you hit a ground ball and they throw it to second to get the out and you get to first safely, but there was still an out on the play, and so it doesn't include that. And also drop third strikes. If the ball gets away from the catcher on strike 3 and he doesn't get it to first base in time to beat the runner, then the runner reaches base, but it's not really an accomplishment, it's an accident, okay? So those things are not included either. Okay, then the slugging percentage, and this is one thing that I was a little bit shaky on, is that you take the number of singles that you have times 1, the number of doubles, it counts for 2 points, triples count for 3, and home runs count for 4. And you divide that total by the number of at-bats, okay? So that's your slugging percentage. And then the OPS, which is a term that is used widely now, is on base plus slugging, okay? And so you add up the on base percentage and the slugging percentage, and then that gives you your OPS. And in general, an OPS at 800 or higher is considered to be pretty darn good. Okay, so the historical example that my friend was using to try to encourage me that this Mets-Dodgers series is not over and the Mets could still win it, although again I don't believe it, but it's a fun thing to look at. So in the 1960 World Series, the Pirates played the Yankees, okay? And the series started off at Pittsburgh, which I believe that back then would have been Forbes Field back in Pittsburgh, a long, long time ago. So the first game was played on October 5th, Wednesday, October 5th. This was back when the World Series started early because you either won the National League or the American League or you didn't. And there weren't wild cards and division winners and all that stuff. But anyways, the Pirates won the first game 6-4. Fairly normal box score, nothing out of the ordinary there. So the Pirates are up 1-0. We go to game 2 the next day, and the Yankees win 16-3, just completely blow Pittsburgh out of the water. Okay, so the series is tied at 1-1. Then we go to Yankee Stadium for game 3, and the Yankees win 10-0. Another blowout. So they're now up 2-1. The Pirates win game 4, 3-2. And so now the series is back even. But the Pirates, their 2 wins have been pretty narrow, and the 2 Yankees wins have been absolute blowouts. Then we go to game 5 in Yankee Stadium, and that's on Monday, October 10th, and the Pirates win 5-2. So they're now up 3-2, even though they've been blown out of the water twice. We go back to Forbes Field on Wednesday, October 12th, and the Yankees win 12-0. So in the 3 games the Yankees have won, they have outscored the Pirates by, 12, 10 is 22, 13, by 35 runs, okay? The 3 games the Pirates have won, they have outscored the Yankees by a total of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? So 35 versus 6, but it's 3-3, and so now they're going to game 7 to decide everything. And what happens on Thursday, October 13th? Well, the game is tied 9-9 going to the 9th inning, and a guy by the name of Bill Mazeroski, if you're an old-timer, you remember that name, comes up and hits a walk-off home run, and the Pirates win the game 10-9 and end up winning the series 4-3, despite losing 3 games by scores of 16-3, 10-0, and 12-0, okay? So, and just a couple of extra stats here. The Yankees outscored the Pirates 55-27. That's more than 2-1. Their team batting average was .338 for the series. The Pirates' team batting average was .256. And the OPS, remember I told you that a good OPS is 800 or higher. The Yankees was .991, and the Pirates .656. But the Pirates won the World Series in 1960, and they were world champions. So I know where he's coming from. I know he's trying to be helpful and encouraging, but I suspect that the Pirates had at least a greater number of really, really, really good players. The Mets have good players, but there's a difference between good and great, and I think that's what Colin Cowherd was trying to point out in his podcast. And so I'm hopeful. I'm not going to give up until it's over. I am optimistic, though, and the Mets have given their fans so many thrills the last couple of weeks. It's been absolutely amazing, and to go from 11 games under 500 at the end of May to playing the best one-loss record in baseball from that point forward, and to have the miracle against Atlanta on the last day of the regular season, which was extended because of the hurricane, to score 6 runs in the 8th, give up the lead in the 9th, and then hit a 2-run homer to get it back. In Milwaukee, to hit a 3-run homer, Alonso in the 9th inning of Game 3 to win that game in that series. They were down 1-0 to the Phillies in Game 1 going to the 8th, and they scored 6 runs and won that game. There were just more miracles than you could count. And so I think all Mets fans need to be incredibly grateful for what has happened this year. And I think it lays the groundwork for a very, very bright future. They've got a good owner who's willing to spend money. They've got a good head of baseball operations, David Stearns, who had a great track record in Milwaukee, and he just brought it right over to the Mets and made some moves that initially you're sitting there going, what was that about? And they all worked out to be really, really great. So I think there's good things ahead. But I just wanted to share this with you because this did happen in 1960. I ain't giving up until the very end. All right. Okay, and I'm going to make this video public so everybody, YouTube, Facebook, Patreon, the whole bit, everybody will see it. It's just a fun video. There's nothing exclusive about this at all. So, all right, folks, you all have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. See you later.